symbolic and emotional allocations within Queen Elizabeth II's will revealed the deeply personal side of her legacy, offering glimpses into the relationships that shaped her life and the values she held dear. While the public often viewed the Queen as a figure of unwavering composure and duty, her final wishes highlighted the care and thoughtfulness with which she approached the distribution of her most cherished possessions. Each item, from family heirlooms to personal mementos, carried a story and a purpose, intertwining the history of the monarchy with her own emotional connections. One of the most poignant aspects of the will was the allocation of the Queen's personal jewelry collection. Unlike the crown jewels, which belong to the state and are used for official ceremonies, her private collection was deeply personal, encompassing tiaras, necklaces, and brooches that had accompanied her throughout her life. These pieces were not merely ornamental but carried immense sentimental value, often tied to significant moments in her reign or relationships with loved ones. For Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, the Queen left several key items that underscored her role as the future Queen consort. Among these were tiaras and necklaces that symbolized her growing importance within the royal family and her ability to carry forward the monarchy's public image. These jewels, often seen at state banquets and formal events, were not just adornments but symbols of continuity and grace. The transfer of these items to Catherine signified the Queen's confidence in her as a future leader and her acknowledgement of Catherine's ability to connect with the public. Prince William's children, too, were included in these allocations, receiving select pieces from the collection. This decision was both practical and symbolic, ensuring that the younger generation would carry the monarchy's legacy into the future. By entrusting these heirlooms to William's family, the Queen reinforced the importance of heritage and tradition while adapting to the modern dynamics of the royal family. Prince Harry's inheritance from the Queen's personal collection carried a different emotional weight. Despite his departure from royal duties and the controversies that followed, the Queen left him a ceremonial sword, a nod to his military service and the bond they shared. This gesture was both a reminder of his royal roots and an olive branch, signaling that he remained an integral part of the family's story. The sword, steeped in history, symbolized strength and duty, qualities the Queen admired in Harry, even amidst their differences. Other family members also received personalized allocations that reflected their unique roles and relationships with the Queen. Pieces of art, rare books, and family manuscripts were thoughtfully distributed, ensuring that each item would remain meaningful to its recipient. These objects, often hidden from public view, carried the weight of the monarchy's history and the Queen's personal sentiments. For example, the allocation of certain historical documents to Princess Anne highlighted her lifelong dedication to preserving royal traditions and her deep connection to her mother. The will's emotional allocations extended beyond material items to include deeply personal gestures. Letters and photographs were entrusted to specific family members, offering a private glimpse into the Queen's thoughts and memories. These items, though not of monetary value, held immense sentimental significance, serving as a bridge between past and future generations of the royal family. Through these symbolic and emotional allocations, Queen Elizabeth ensured that her legacy would not only be preserved but also cherished by those closest to her. These decisions revealed a monarch who deeply understood the importance of balancing tradition with personal connection, leaving behind not just treasures but stories, lessons, and values for her family to carry forward. In doing so, she created a lasting bond between her life and the enduring history of the monarchy, ensuring that her memory would continue to inspire and guide her descendants for generations to come. The reading of Queen Elizabeth II's will brought a wave of surprises that rippled through the royal family and captivated public attention. Among the most unexpected elements were her decisions surrounding the inheritance of iconic royal properties, decisions that defied centuries of tradition and reshaped perceptions of how the monarchy manages its most cherished assets. Properties like Balmoral Castle, Sandringham Estate, and Buckingham Palace, long assumed to pass directly to King Charles III or Prince William as symbols of their leadership, were instead retained as part of the Crown estate or distributed in unconventional ways, sparking intrigue and speculation about the late Queen's intentions. For generations, royal estates like these were seen as extensions of the reigning monarch's identity, physical representations of the continuity and grandeur of the British monarchy. Balmoral Castle, for instance, held deep personal significance for the Queen as her cherished Scottish retreat, a place where she could find solace and connect with her family away from the public eye. Sandringham, on the other hand, was the site of countless royal Christmases and family traditions, a symbol of the monarchy's enduring ties to its historical roots. Buckingham Palace, the epicenter of royal life and the face of the monarchy to the world, carried its own weight as a symbol of institutional stability. The Queen's decision to keep these properties within the Crown estate rather than directly passing them to her heirs, reflected her broader understanding of the monarchy's role as a public institution rather than a private dynasty. This choice underscored her belief that these properties belonged to the nation as much as they did to the royal family. By ensuring they remained tied to the crown estate, she protected them from potential fragmentation or commercialization, safeguarding their cultural and historical significance for future generations. However, not all decisions were purely pragmatic. Balmoral, while part of the shared legacy, was also allocated in a way that reflected the Queen's personal connections. Prince William, who spent much of his childhood there with his grandmother, received a share in its stewardship, ensuring his deep emotional ties to the estate were honored. This gesture symbolized the Queen's understanding of Balmoral as more than a property. It was a place where the bonds of family were strengthened, and its care required a personal touch. These decisions challenged traditional expectations, particularly those of King Charles III. As the new monarch, he inherited vast responsibilities, but the unconventional arrangements of the Queen's will suggested that her vision extended beyond his reign. By involving multiple family members in the management of these estates, she created a structure that emphasized shared responsibility and collective stewardship over centralized control. The Queen's choices also sparked public debate. Some critics viewed them as a departure from the monarchy's symbolic unity, fearing that decentralization might dilute its authority. Others praised the move as forward-thinking, aligning the royal family's image with modern values of inclusivity and sustainability. The decision to keep properties tied to the crown estate was seen by many as an acknowledgement of the growing scrutiny on the monarchy's wealth and its role in contemporary society. For Prince William, these unexpected decisions marked a significant moment in his journey toward kingship. The responsibility to manage not only the estates but also the Queen's broader vision for the monarchy now rested heavily on his shoulders. He would need to navigate the delicate balance between honoring tradition and embracing the changes necessary to ensure the institution's relevance. Ultimately, Queen Elizabeth's unexpected inheritance decisions reflected her unique blend of pragmatism and sentimentality. They revealed her deep understanding of the monarchy as both a historical institution and a living, evolving entity. Her will was not merely a legal document, it was a statement of intent, a roadmap for the royal family to follow as they faced an increasingly uncertain future. These choices, while surprising, carried with them a clear message: the monarchy must adapt to endure, and its treasures, both material and symbolic, must serve a purpose far greater than themselves. Queen Elizabeth II's charitable and public legacy is one of the most enduring aspects of her reign, and her will reflected her lifelong commitment to service beyond the walls of the monarchy. Throughout her decades on the throne, the Queen stood as a patron of over 600 organizations, ranging from charities addressing poverty and education to those focusing on environmental conservation and cultural preservation. Her final wishes carried forward this ethos, ensuring that her influence would continue to benefit society long after her passing. The contents of her will revealed a meticulous plan to support causes close to her heart. A significant portion of her personal wealth, accumulated through investments, private properties, and art collections, was allocated to charitable organizations she had championed during her lifetime. This move was not only a demonstration of her dedication to philanthropy, but also a statement about the monarchy's role in public life. It was a gesture designed to underscore the importance of giving back, particularly in an era of heightened scrutiny regarding wealth and privilege. Among the recipients of her bequests were charities addressing some of the most pressing global issues such as climate change, mental health awareness, and education for underprivileged children. The Queen's commitment to environmental causes was well documented, and her will emphasize the importance of continuing efforts to protect the planet. Funds were designated for initiatives aimed at preserving natural habitats and combating climate change, an issue she had spoken about passionately in her later years. These allocations reflected her belief in leaving behind a better world for future generations. Her will also included provisions for cultural institutions and the arts. Museums, historical societies, and educational programs were among the beneficiaries, ensuring that the rich tapestry of British history and culture would remain accessible to the public. This was particularly significant in light of her well-known dedication to maintaining the monarchy's connection to the nation's heritage. By supporting these institutions, the Queen reinforced the idea that the monarchy should serve as a steward of culture and education, not just a symbol of power. Additionally, her will outlined contributions to healthcare organizations and initiatives supporting veterans and active-duty military personnel. As a figure who often spoke of her deep respect for those who served, these bequests were another concerns about the institution's financial transparency. Supporters, on the other hand, lauded the Queen's foresight in using her personal resources to make a tangible difference in areas of societal need. The Queen's charitable bequests also carried a symbolic message to her heirs. By embedding philanthropy into her final plans, she set a clear example for the next generation of royals. It was a reminder that the monarchy's relevance in the modern world would depend not only on preserving its traditions but also on demonstrating its value through service to society. King Charles III and Prince William, as key figures in the monarchy's future, were left with the responsibility of upholding this aspect of her legacy while navigating the evolving expectations of their roles. In the end, Queen Elizabeth II's charitable and public legacy went beyond financial contributions. It was a testament to her unwavering sense of duty. Her will was not just a reflection of her values but also a blueprint for how the monarchy could remain a force for good in a rapidly changing world. Through her thoughtful and strategic philanthropy, she ensured that her impact would continue to resonate, both within the United Kingdom and far beyond, as a beacon of hope, compassion, and service. The reading of Queen Elizabeth II's will, while meticulously crafted to reflect her values and vision, also brought to light underlying tensions and intricate family dynamics within the royal household. As each allocation was revealed, it became clear that her decisions, though thoughtful and strategic, would inevitably provoke feelings of pride, gratitude, and even resentment among her descendants. The Queen, a master of maintaining public composure, understood the fragile balance required to manage a family as prominent and scrutinized as the Windsors. Her will became not just a roadmap for the monarchy's future, but also a mirror reflecting its internal complexities. One of the most immediate sources of tension was the allocation of personal items and family heirlooms. These decisions carried significant emotional weight, as they symbolized not only the Queen's affections but also her assessment of each family member's role within the institution. While Prince William and Catherine received several prominent pieces, including historic jewels befitting their future roles as king and queen consort, other members of the family, particularly Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, found themselves in a more ambiguous position. Harry's inheritance of a ceremonial sword, a poignant nod to his military service, was both a gesture of inclusion and a reminder of his strained relationship with the royal family. This delicate balance sparked speculation. Was it a sign of reconciliation, or an attempt to keep him tethered to his royal roots despite his departure? The Queen's distribution of estates and properties added another layer of complexity. Balmoral Castle, Sandringham, and other royal retreats held deep emotional significance, not just for the Queen but for generations of her family. By keeping these properties tied to the Crown estate, or shared among multiple family members, she avoided concentrating too much power or privilege in one individual. However, this decision also left room for disagreements, as different heirs interpreted the allocations through the lens of their personal expectations and aspirations. Tensions also arose from the Queen's emphasis on equality among her grandchildren. By setting aside resources and heirlooms for the younger generation, she demonstrated her belief in preparing them for the monarchy's future, regardless of their current proximity to the throne. While this approach was forward-thinking, it inadvertently highlighted disparities in the roles and responsibilities of the family's more senior members. The allocation of significant jewels and artifacts to William's children, for instance, underscored their prominence in the line of succession, a reality that may have left others feeling overlooked. Family dynamics were further complicated by the Queen's careful handling of sensitive relationships. Her decisions seemed designed to balance her personal bonds with the expectations of the monarchy. For example, Princess Anne's inheritance included historical documents and artifacts that reflected her dedication to preserving royal traditions, while Prince Andrew's allocations, though modest, were calculated to acknowledge his contributions without reigniting public controversies. These tensions extended beyond the immediate family to the broader perception of unity within the royal household. As the will's contents became public, observers speculated about how these decisions might influence the family's public image. The Queen's desire to maintain harmony was evident, yet the inherent inequalities of a hierarchical institution, like the monarchy, made true equilibrium impossible. Her choices, however deliberate, could not fully erase the underlying rivalries and disagreements that had long simmered beneath the surface. In the end, the Queen's will was both a source of comfort and a catalyst for reflection within the royal family. It highlighted the delicate interplay between tradition and modernity, personal affection and institutional duty. For King Charles III and Prince William, the task of managing these dynamics now fell to them, as they worked to uphold the legacy of a monarch who had spent her life navigating the same complex web of relationships. The will, while revealing much about the Queen's intentions, left an enduring question: could the family move forward together, Or would the weight of these tensions shape the monarchy's future in unforeseen ways? Modernizing the British monarchy has been an ongoing challenge, but Queen Elizabeth II's will provided a clear signal that she envisioned a future in which tradition and progress could coexist. As one of the world's oldest and most iconic institutions, the monarchy's ability to adapt has been critical to its survival. Through her carefully considered final wishes, the Queen outlined a vision of a more inclusive, pragmatic, and forward-thinking royal family, preparing them to meet the demands of an increasingly interconnected and scrutinizing modern world. One of the key elements of this modernization was the decentralization of power and responsibility within the royal family. Historically, the monarchy operated with a rigid hierarchy, where decisions were concentrated at the top. The Queen's will challenge this structure by distributing roles and assets in a way that empowered multiple family members, fostering a sense of shared stewardship. By allocating key properties and responsibilities across a broader spectrum of heirs, she ensured that no single individual would bear the weight of the institution's legacy alone, while also diversifying the family's public presence. The Queen's decisions also emphasized the importance of aligning the monarchy with contemporary values. Her choices reflected a keen awareness of the growing need for transparency, accountability, and social relevance in a time when public trust in traditional institutions is waning. For example, by tying significant royal estates like Balmoral and Sandringham to the Crown estate, rather than gifting them outright, she ensured that these assets would remain symbols of national heritage rather than private privilege. This move resonated with a public increasingly critical of wealth inequality and demonstrated the monarchy's commitment to serving the people rather than itself. Her emphasis on philanthropy and public service was another cornerstone of her modernization strategy. In her will, the Queen prioritized charitable contributions and initiatives that addressed pressing global issues such as climate change, education, and poverty. This reinforced the idea that the monarchy's relevance lies not in its opulence but in its ability to make a positive impact on society. Her legacy set a precedent for future royals to prioritize meaningful engagement with the world's challenges, using their platform to drive change rather than simply uphold tradition. Queen Elizabeth also recognized the importance of embracing cultural and generational shifts. By involving younger members of the family, such as Prince William, Catherine, and their children, in the management of royal responsibilities and assets, she demonstrated her belief in the vitality of new perspectives. This move was particularly significant given the monarchy's need to resonate with younger generations who often view it as an outdated institution. The Queen's willingness to adapt and prepare the next generation of royals for a modern role ensured that the monarchy remained relatable and engaged with contemporary issues. Technology and media also played a role in her modernization efforts. During her reign, the Queen embraced new methods of communication, from televised speeches to social media platforms. Her will underscored the importance of continuing this trend, encouraging future monarchs to use modern tools to connect directly with the public. This shift towards accessibility and openness reflected her understanding that the monarchy must not only be seen but also heard in ways that resonate with a digitally connected world. However, modernization came with challenges. Critics argued that decentralizing responsibilities and broadening the family's roles could dilute the monarchy's symbolic authority. Balancing tradition with innovation required careful navigation to avoid alienating conservative supporters, while appealing to a progressive audience. For King Charles III and Prince William, the task of implementing the Queen's vision, while maintaining the monarchy's historical essence, became their defining mission. Ultimately, Queen Elizabeth II's approach to modernizing the monarchy was a testament to her foresight and adaptability. She understood that preserving the institution's legacy required more than clinging to the past, it demanded evolution. Her will laid the groundwork for a future where the monarchy could remain relevant, meaningful, and connected to the people it serves, bridging the gap between its storied history and the expectations of a modern society. The impact of Queen Elizabeth II's will on future leadership within the monarchy cannot be overstated. Her carefully crafted decisions served as a blueprint for the responsibilities and challenges awaiting King Charles III and Prince William. These choices reflected not only her vision for the institution's survival, but also the legacy of service and adaptability she wished to pass on. For Charles and William, her final wishes were a call to action, a reminder that their roles as leaders extended beyond ceremonial duties to encompass stewardship of an evolving monarchy. For King Charles III, the will underscored the weight of balancing tradition with modern demands. Inheriting vast estates, personal assets, and the symbolic authority of the crown, he was tasked with maintaining stability while addressing the growing calls for transparency and relevance. The Queen's decisions to decentralize certain responsibilities hinted at her trust in Charles's ability to delegate effectively and foster a collective approach to leadership. Yet, it also served as a challenge to unite the family and the nation amidst a rapidly shifting societal landscape. For Prince William, the implications were equally profound. As the heir to the throne, he found himself entrusted with a vision of the monarchy that emphasized empathy, connection, and service. The Queen's allocation of personal items to William's children symbolized her belief in the importance of preparing the younger generation for their eventual roles. These gestures weren't just about inheritance. They were about shaping a future leader who could embody the values of humility and progress while honoring the traditions that defined the institution. The will's influence extended beyond personal relationships, shaping the monarchy's approach to its public role. By emphasizing philanthropy, environmental stewardship, and inclusivity, the Queen signaled a clear path for her successors. For Charles and William, this meant navigating the complexities of modern leadership while preserving the monarchy's enduring relevance. Her legacy became a compass, guiding them through the uncharted waters of a changing world with the understanding that leadership is both a privilege and a profound responsibility.